Hey, Sasha, dude, Macaroons, how the heck are you? A little bit earlier than I typically come to you on a Friday because I am not working this Friday. I'm on vacation, but actually because I had to have some surgery done earlier in the week. On Tuesday, I had surgery for carpal tunnel, uh, cubital release, and trigger finger. So I'm off this week, but I'm not on any pain pills at all, which is why I can do this video for those of you that, care about such things or just want to make an issue where there isn't any. I took one pain pill Tuesday night when I got home. I haven't had one since. So figured I'd be good to have a drink with you. And I'm going to start with some whiskey neat. And then I may have a cocktail with you if we want to keep going. I thought I would kind of play it by ear because I've got a cocktail lined up. I don't have it made. I don't have a prep, but I've got all the ingredients right here to set up with you quickly if we decide to go in that direction. Just wanted to make sure this was working first. Here we go. All right, I did have some whiskey neat. The Ben Holiday. This is out of Weston, Missouri. Ben Holiday is a 6-year-old 1856 original bottled and bond. Bottled and bond only has to be 4 years old. This one is at 6, and it is at 100 proof Missouri straight bourbon whiskey. It was distilled fall of 2018, filed February of 2025. Um, Ben Holiday, Weston, distilled, aged, and bottled by Holiday Distillery, Weston, Missouri. They're doing some very nice products there. And I visited the distillery once. I would like to get back there again, but boy, they're doing some very nice products there. So I've got myself a very generous pour here. So we're going to sip on this and have a conversation. And then if we want to keep going, I've got that cocktail or that could be for a separate video. Well, like I said, we're going to kind of play it by ear, just depending on. Oh. Now, I do like their soft red wheat, but I'm a traditional bourbon guy, right? I know that's not popular to say these days, but I like that rise of secondary. I think it's needed in bourbon. Not that I totally dislike wheated bourbons, but I do tend to think many of them tend to be too sweet. I almost feel like they're starter bourbons, right? They're for bourbon drinkers who don't really like real bourbon, right? You want it a little softer, a little sweeter. There's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but I think a lot of wheated bourbons are overpriced for what they are. Let me say it that way. Meaning they're not of any higher quality, but a certain segment of society tends to like them better at this moment in time, so they're priced higher. Let's say it that way. Let's see who we can irritate. But I do like that rise of secondary. This is a very nicely done whiskey. Beautiful aromatics. It's a very nice. It's almost a tap room. It's not a tap room, but it's a very nice distillery there. I do like cocktails. I've gotten to where I like them more as I've gotten older, but I am a little particular about my cocktails. I find a lot of places tend to favor nouveau audiences, meaning they tend to add a lot of ingredients, make cocktails very sweet, very fruity, and that's not where I stand. So I'm kind of careful where and when I order my cocktails out, and then I tend to just go back to the classics if they have them on the menu. Oh mercy! A lot of big brown sugar on the nose, certainly a lot of vanilla, a lot of oak, all the usual suspects. Also feel like I'm picking up just the slightest notion of maple in there. Got out a little bit today. First time since my surgery on Tuesday. Uh, Had a friend was having it was a birthday, so I stopped by Banter where I work for a brief moment just to wish her happy birthday. My wife had made some sweets for her. It's kind of like an extra daughter to us, you know. When I take care of these kids. Uh, then decided to come home and relax for a little bit. And I thought, well, let's do an earlier video than typical. Typically, I work till 10 o'clock on Fridays, so it's 10:30 to 11 at the very earliest that I can do a video. So let's just do it earlier since I happen to be home. My vacation, if you will, I had to spend my vacation recovering from surgery, but such is life. And I'm starting off the year in the hole. I think the rest of the year trying to get caught up again. But I couldn't put off the surgeries any longer. They gotten bad. I was having some very serious issues with the right hand being able to feel anything. Even crushed the glass because I couldn't tell that I had a grip on it. Anyway, anyways, this is just a beautifully done 6-year-old bottled in bond bourbon. Again, bottled in bond, single distiller, single distilling season. Um, must be a minimum of 4 years. This one at 6 is, oh, it's just incredible. A little more dimension than a typical 4-year-old. Not a whiskey drinkers, especially Scotch and some Irish whiskey drinkers, will get hung up on age. Older isn't necessarily better. Pricier isn't necessarily better. I think folks just get used to seeing things a specific way. So you think an older whiskey is naturally better. You think a pricier whiskey is naturally better. I think bourbon's the one whiskey that breaks both of those molds. An older bourbon isn't necessarily better. There is a sweet spot with bourbon, and it's not, there isn't one particular age. It really depends on that bourbon, that particular mash. Sometimes it's 6 years, sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's 12, sometimes it's 15. But an older whiskey isn't necessarily better. And a pricier whiskey isn't necessarily better either. Hey, Dean, how are you, man? Happy Friday. Appreciate you guys chilling with me. I'm going to try to catch you on an upcoming gig because I do happen to have that particular. I think it's a Saturday. Think I have that particular Saturday off for one of your bandmates' birthdays, so I'm hoping to get out there for that. But I appreciate you to joining in with me here. Said I'm recovering from minor surgery. Minor. There was no, wasn't life or death. I was, just the hand just wasn't working as well as it used to. As we all know, things just kind of go belly up on us as we get older. About 3 years ago, I had to have my left knee done, so I got a total knee replacement there. Uh, Back in 2018, I had the left hand worked on, but I was supposed to have the right hand, but things happened where I couldn't do it at that time, and it just got to where I really had to take care of it this time around. But for an old fat 60-year-old man, I'm not doing too bad. Overall, I mean, I'm not in a horrible health for a guy that's obviously way overweight or obese, if you will. I mean, I guess technically I am, but Other than that, I don't have the other signs that are typically associated. I don't have high cholesterol. I don't have high blood pressure. But and I was doing really well during the year to bring everything else down and the weight as well. And then we had a tragedy in the family in November, so I kind of let things get out of control again. So now I'm trying to be aware of what I'm doing again. Really going to try to make a difference this year because I feel like I always get close and then something happens. So I need to try to find a way to not get sidetracked this year. Focus on what needs to be focused on and don't worry about the other stuff. But I mean, like I said, other than that, for for an old fat man, I'm in relatively decent health. I mean, I'm only on a couple pharmaceuticals, which isn't bad for somebody my age. They cut my amlodipine back. I was on amlodipine for blood pressure, but it had been controlled, so they cut back on it. I had been doing 10 milligrams a day, and he cut me back to basically, he said, as needed. You know, okay. He said, no, you didn't think I needed 5 milligrams a day, even. So things are well. I know I've got to get this under control, though. So that's my big thing this year. Because, like I said, I was doing very well up until well, something happened, and then I kind of just let everything slip away from me. Pete says that getting old isn't for the weak. Yeah, it is not. I'm going to post your comment, sir. It is not. But it is better than the alternative, I suppose. You learned it, it's funny. Uh, I think you just become accustomed to a certain amount of pain, right? And then, like, for instance, when I had my knee surgery, I was in so much pain before the surgery that after the surgery, the pain of the surgery was less than that. And the same thing with the arm is that I had the arm done. I took the one pain pill that night of the surgery. I haven't needed one since. Because again, you become accustomed to a certain amount of pain that the pain that I'm dealing with now is nothing to compare to what it was before. So I don't feel the need to take anything for the pain. And I think a lot of us do that as we get older. We just assume things are going to hurt, and so we don't complain about it. It's okay. That's just going to hurt now. This is where we're going to be. It's like when you know that car when that check engine light comes on. Well, unless this engine failure, we're just going to keep driving the thing, and I think that's how we deal with our bodies for the most part. Well, unless everything falls apart, we're just going to keep going, and that's kind of where I feel I am at this moment in time. I mean, like I said, I turned 60 this year. And by the time my dad turned 60, he'd already had 3 heart attacks and a couple other very major surgeries. I've got cousins 2 and 4 years older than I am, and both have already had heart attacks. I know at least one of them has had a couple heart attacks and a stroke. So, I mean, I feel relatively lucky in all honesty. And the pains that I have are pretty much, self-inflicted. I mean, I've allowed this to happen to myself. It's nobody else's fault but mine. So now I've just got to again find some balance. For instance, my lunch today was a little bit of a chicken breast and and a salad. The only thing I did wrong is I did get a little too much dressing on the salad, so we'll do better. But again, it's small victories, right? Small victories, small victory. Ah, and success. Success is different for everybody. I think a lot of folks think success is monetary. Are you successful? Are you well off? Are you rich? Are you wealthy? And there's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but there's not necessarily anything wrong with not feeling that way either. And I think a lot of folks want to make you feel bad if you aren't somehow rich or wealthy. Um, I'm never going to be. It's not that I don't have ambition. It's not that I don't try. It's not that I don't work hard because I do all of those things, but I don't have the desire to want to step on somebody else to get myself to a certain level. I don't need that much. Just having a asking questions to an AI app the other day about certain things. I said I would be worried about certain things in my behavior. It was what I was getting at. Cheers to small victories. Yeah, I appreciate that. I'll post your comment there. And I was basically asking, these are my personality traits. This is what I'm doing. This is are any of these things wrong, or should they are they dangerous habits? And I don't know. Sometimes I feel like the AI app is kissing my ass. I'm okay with that a little bit, but it basically said that no, there's nothing wrong with how you are seeing these things. A lot of how we view things are societal. So society may look at you a certain way, but doesn't necessarily mean that's how it is. I am paraphrasing slightly, but then it did. It compared my philosophy of life to two people that I admire greatly. One was Hunter S. Thompson, and if only right. The other one was Abby Hoffman, who is a big hero of mine. The Chicago Seven, if you will. Abby Hoffman's a guy who refused to take large amounts of money in favor of just making enough to get by. And he was looked down and upon by a lot of folks because he refused to be wealthy. And I think in a lot of ways that's me. I don't necessarily refuse to be wealthy. I mean, of course, I would like to be a little better off than I am, but then again, I would have had to made certain decisions that I was unwilling to make. I'm never going to hurt somebody in order for myself to do better. So I'm okay with where I'm at. I spent some time trying to climb the ladder, and then I realized it just wasn't worth it for the time I lost with my family. And about a year and a half ago or so, actually closed in on 2 years now, actually next month will be 2 years. I left my stressful job in favor of being a bartender, and I've never been happier in my life. I've never enjoyed going to work more than I do now. I love going and pouring the best beer in Springfield. I love going in and making top top shelf cocktails, designing them myself as well. I love everything about what I do right now, what I stand for and how I treat people. That's more important to me than being wealthy. So I'm never going to be wealthy being a bartender, but man, it is very joyful for me. I'm very happy doing what I'm doing. I'm not hurting anybody doing what I'm doing. So I'm grateful for that as well. That is nice whiskey. I'm going to show you this bottle one more time. Like I said, I did have a cocktail. I've got the components ready to go, even though I haven't mixed it yet. But since I've talked for almost 20 minutes, I did that cocktail. It's going to make a very long video. So I think I'm going to shut this one down here and show you this Ben Holiday one more time. 1856 original, bottled and bond. It's a 6-year-old bottled and bond at 100 proof. Runs in the neighborhood of, let's say, about 60 a bottle, somewhere in that range, 50 to 60, depending on where you're buying it, and it's worth every penny. I am Tom, the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and man, that whiskey's delicious. All around good guy, Slotcha. Big Dean put up one more comment. I'm going to post it for you. Have a great night. Take care. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. I may return later because, like I said, I had that cocktail ready to go. But I didn't figure anybody wanted to watch me longer than the 20 minutes I've already been talking. So, anyways, again, one more time, feeling I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, prolific whiskey drinker, purveyor of wisdom, and cheese biscuits and rig. All right, good guys. Lunch. Thanks for tuning in, yo.